Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sivnet's Safe Academy for Kerbals. Today, we're going to be going over how to achieve orbit really fast, really quick, and really easy. We're not going to go ahead and bombard you with all kinds of information. We're going to say, you know what, this is just how you do it. There are tons of finer points to be had, but you know what, forget all that business. We here care about safety, and safety first. Alright, let's go ahead. Start a new sandbox here. Let's choose a new flag. I like the Periapsis flag. These are like my two favorite flags here. This one and this one. We're gonna go with Periapsis. I always really like this one too. Alright, here we go. Let's type in... Oh, keyboard please. Alright, here we go. Sivnet Safe Academy. There we go. Hit the start button. Alright, one mod I am using, guys, is Kerbal Engineer. That is one mod I highly suggest everybody and anybody ever get. I mean, honestly, it is amazing. Because, like, watch this. This is what I'm going to do. Boom! The mod just works. I don't have to do anything. I just click the part, bam! We are good to go. Okay, so here we go. Let's just make this work. We are just going to make this work. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, get a small little decoupler here, slap that right at the bottom. Go ahead right here, get a parachute, bam, put that right in there. I prefer to do this because this parachute always works with this pod. You almost never ever have to worry about it breaking up or exploding or anything like that. So we're going to use some really small beginner basic parts here. Here we go. Let's grab this guy. This is one of the early starting tanks. This guy right here. Career mode. 909, best engine, no demand. If I hold down Alt-click, I can go ahead, copy this. Just get rid of that. Nobody needs that. Now we need to add some fuel to this. We're going to add a whole lot of fire and a whole lot of angry. So you guys know, the one thing you do need to get to orbit, according to Kerbal Engineer, is 4,500 Delta V. Absolutely needed. And we're going to do that. Let's take the LVT-30, go ahead and slap this on the bottom. Looks like your staging is a little wrecked here. Let's go ahead, this over. Alright, what are we looking at? A 1.7 TWR. Delta V looks pretty good. Alright, let's name this to Orbit 1. Orbit I. Orbit I, I've changed my mind. Mid-keyboard strokes. Alright, let's go ahead and launch this guy. We can do this. Alright guys, one real quick I want to show you really quick here is terminal velocity. Terminal velocity is very important in anything basically. Terminal velocity basically meaning you can only go so fast. If you try to go faster, you're just wasting fuel. So here we go. Here's our terminal velocity right here. 100 meters per second. As we go up in the atmosphere, it's going to start increasing. So I think we're going to be alright for the most part. Let's go ahead and increase our throttle. Turn on SAS by clicking or hitting your T key. And spacebar to launch. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Off we go! Here we go. Amazing, isn't it? Alright, here we go. Our speed catching really quickly up to our terminal velocity. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Basically, we have to monitor it right until we hit the 10,000 meters and start our gravity turn. Then the terminal velocity starts increasing at such a rate, you're just not going to keep up with it anymore. Basically, it's considered entirely GG keeping up with it, because you're not going to do it. Alright, so we're catching up with it. We're going to start kicking this back just a little bit on the throttle. It's very key with high TWR. You use a spacecraft with higher TWR to get off the surface of anything you're launching from. Basically, the higher your TWR is, the less time you're going to be burning fuel. Very critical. But, alright, here we go. Still going. Still just a little under our terminal velocity. Starting to catch up to it. We're going to throttle down just a little bit. Just a wee bit. Getting really close to our 10,000 meters where we start our gravity turn. Alright. Coming up really quick. And let's begin the turn. Alright, we don't need the surface information anymore. It's here. Throttle up. We're going to turn right to 45 degrees. Oh, we've overshot it just a wee bit. That's okay. Go ahead, bring it back. Basically, what you want to do is you always want to turn 90. This is considered a pro-grade orbit in terms of the planet. The planet is spinning already, and when you launch, you're already moving in that direction. Now, if you want to launch the other way, you can do it. It will cost you about an additional 300, which is completely fine. So we're just going to ride this rocket all the way up till basically our first separation as our fuel gets low here. You'll see our speed is starting to gradually increase. Our apoapsis is going up. Apoapsis being the highest point in your orbit, and the periapsis being the lowest. I will assure you, if the periapsis height reads negative, there is probably dirt in your way. And that's what we call lithobraking. Alright, stage separation. Here we go. Alright, apoapsis height, 78,000 meters. And you notice how it's coming down. Basically, what that is the atmosphere is applying resistance to your spaceship and slowing you down. We're pretty much almost guaranteed to hit that. At least 70,000 meters is where the atmosphere for carbon ends. We're pretty much guaranteed to hit at least 70,000 meters and exit orbit today. Let's go ahead and hit the M key. You'll notice here we have a suborbital trajectory. We're going up to our apo and coming back down. That is not good. We want to orbit carbon today. So we're going to go ahead, click on Add Maneuver Node, create it, and you see the little green circle I'm clicking on here? That is considered prograde. What that does says, hey, you're going to bring your rocket in this direction. So that apoapsis is really high. We're just going to slow it down just a little bit. And see, we're going to have it even on both sides. So 71,000, 81,000. So it's not entirely even. So we're going to move this. We're going to go here. And we can click on the node itself and move it. We're going to move it just a little this way. Go. There we go. 74, 79. Definitely a little closer. Definitely do it for us. Alright, here we go. We need to burn 1,000 delta V. And it's going to take about 1 minute. So what you want to do for your nodes is you want to do half in, half out. So you basically want to take 1 minute 2 seconds. So it's going to be 62 seconds and divide it in half. That's going to be 31 seconds we're going to start our burn at. You're going to burn a little faster than exactly the way it's supposed to be because you're losing weight as you're burning because of loss of fuel and your TWR is going up, therefore you're going faster. That's perfectly fine. For the most part, just try to stick it half in, half out. It's not super critical, but the big critical thing is making sure your periapsis height is not a negative number and is above 70,000 meters. That is very critical. So as you see, time to apoapsis, we're gradually getting there. Time to periapsis is 8 minutes, and it's increasing, which is a good thing. However, that time is not entirely accurate because there's a lot of dirt and water in the way. Now that happens. That's usually what helps Kerbal survive. Alright, we're just going to try to keep our node right here, this little dot, right over the blue dot. As long as we keep burning that way, you see as it's going down, periapsis is increasing. We're going to go ahead and start slowing it down a little bit. We're going to hit X to kill our throttle. We have 10 meters per second left to burn. We're going to go ahead, burn this up just a little bit. Try to keep it on the node. Alright, 0.2 meters per second left. Difference, it's completely fine. We're good. We're going to check right here. Apo of 80 kilometers and a periapsis height of 73 kilometers. That's perfect. We're completely in space. So guys, you've made it to space. Awesome. Well, how to get back down? Well, for a real quick tutorial on how to get down, we're just going to time warp real quick to the other side of the planet. We're going to try to get as close as we can to KSC. We want to return back to KSC, because in career mode, when you turn back to KSC, you get money back for landing back. You get more money the closer you are when you land in KSC. So we're going to try to do that here. We got to time warp up by hitting period or comma will increase your time warp. So we're increasing it. And we're going to make a maneuver node here. We're going to slow this down. We're going to make a maneuver node. Now, prograde means we want to add a rocket fire to the direction we're already going and expands our orbit. This symbol right here is retrograde. It means slow down. It's kind of like, think of like space brakes. You could also think it like as go and anti-go. Sometimes I prefer to use that terminology It helps me visualize a little more. Um, it's like everything else in life. You just say go, anti-go, things like that. Alright, so here, let's open up this little hash right here is our nav ball. So this tells us how much going to move, or how much delta V we're going to need. I see we have 700, more than enough. More than enough. Also, it's going to be 6 minutes away, which is fine. Let's go ahead, maybe move it down just a little more. Alright, you got to remember, we're going to be coming in pretty quickly, pretty early. Maybe move it back just here. If you click on the circle here, this allows you to move the node back and forth. We'll get to these little symbols in another tutorial, but for now, we're just going to do it like this. Move forward. Remember, as you're re-entering, the atmosphere is going to start applying friction or resistance to you and start slowing you down. So we're going to add this right here. Okay. Now we're going to turn our ship right onto the marker right here. We're going to speed it up. And we're going to wait until it gets closer. We're going to slow it down as we get closer here. There is a great mod to handle this. It's called Kerbal Alarm Clock. I highly suggest it. I'll be adding it in my next tutorial. Alright, we're coming up here, getting ever so closer. And alright, kill the time warp. We're on the node. And we're going to throttle all the way up here. Alright, there we go. Alright, we're returning down to Kerbin. And kill our throttle by hitting X, 0.7 meters per second difference. I think that's darn good. Alright, so we're a little over, but hopefully with air resistance, what's going to happen? It's going to bring this right back down really close to KS. Ooh, a little bit of lag there. Alright, now... Oh, the moon. Hello, moon. The sun should be directly above us. There it is. Alright, we're coming in now. Let's go ahead and time it up, warp it up until we enter the atmosphere. Just so you guys know, Kerbal Space Program does not have a realistic atmosphere in terms of aerodynamics. So, you entering the atmosphere going in this direction does not cause less air resistance compared to you entering the atmosphere in this direction or this direction. So, take that into mind. It doesn't entirely matter which way you're coming in. There are mods to apply your realistic aerodynamics. They're great. There's two that are really awesome. There's Near. It's really called Neophyte's Elementary Aerodynamics. And there's also Far. So you have Near and Far. I personally like using Near. Near is very basic, very simple. It just gets it done, and that's what I'm all about. Far is if you are, I don't want to say a complete junkie about it, but you really want some hardcore technical things where if you're developing space planes, you have to worry about Mach effects affecting control surfaces and affecting your lift, which is really important when making space planes. You can make space planes capable of taking off from the Kerbal Space Center and making it all the way to space, mostly on jet engines until it has to kick over to a rocket engine. Alright, so we're coming in, and everything is fine. Alright, we're starting to speed up as we're basically getting closer to our periapsis, which is normal. The closer you get to your periapsis, you start speeding up. The second you hit your periapsis, you're going the fastest you ever will be in your orbit. And then once you start moving away from your periapsis, you start slowing down as you get towards your apoapsis. If your orbit is really circular, i.e. not eccentric, the speed difference will be very minor. But the more eccentric your orbit is, the greater the speed difference will be. And also, the big thing too is based on the gravity of the planet around you. So here we go, coming in. We don't have any St. Elmo's Fire showing up yet, which we should have soon. Basically, what St. Elmo's Fire is think of like you're rubbing your hands together. You start developing friction, your hands start getting warm. That's kind of what that really is when you're entering the atmosphere. You're just going so fast, and the air resistance there is just trying to get out of the way, and they're bumping and colliding with each other. Think of it, you're kind of flying through a crowd with a rocket, except the crowd is just air molecules. That's basically what you're doing. So the deeper we go, the more resistance will start being imparted onto us by air resistance. You'll see we're already starting to slow down as a result. Our apoapsis is coming down as well because of that. Let's take a look at a map where we're supposed to be landing. As you see, it's slightly coming down, and KSC is about right over there. So here we go, coming in. Alright, there's the St. Elmo's fire happening. As I said, it doesn't matter aerodynamically which way you're facing. It really does not make a difference. If you did have an atmospheric mod, effectively, you wouldn't be able to turn. Once you kind of entered, your craft would either be pointing retrograde or prograde, and that's about what you could do. There are some instances where you get into a flat spin, and that's bad. That's bad, because you suddenly lose control of your craft. But for the most part, if you come in retro or prograde, it's fine. Alright, there's KSC. We're almost going to completely land right on it. That's a pretty good marker. I like that. Look at that. Coming right in. Alright, we're not going to land entirely on it, but we're really close, and that's what matters. Alright. So guys, here is your retrograde marker for the surface. I just want to go over this real quick as well. So when this is set to surface, this is basically, you're moving at the ground like this. So when you're trying to do a moon landing, right, and you're pointed like this thinking, oh, I'm just going to go straight down and land, if your marker is not on the 90 degrees, you're moving horizontally across the ground. Like you can see it now, you're moving horizontally. What you would have to do is burn a little bit below this, and it will gradually move up. Now you can burn directly on it, and it'll keep gradually pulling you in until you're straight up and down. But you gotta remember, there's no atmosphere on the moon. So the air resistance isn't gonna gradually kind of suck you into where you need to be and slow you down, all that good stuff. Alright, let's stage here and deploy the parachute. Bam. There it goes. Parachute here is ready to deploy soon. One thing I highly do not suggest doing: time warping without your parachute deployed. I've seen too many times where you just crank up the time warp and your parachute, that's it. It's done. Goodbye. It rips right off. Pod goes plummeting right down, you crash, and you just lost all your hard-earned work in science. That's not good. That's not good. That's what we want. So, here we go. At 500 meters, this thing's going to deploy. Here we go. Mind you, it's 500 meters above the surface. So that means this surface is 300 meters above sea level, basically. So now we're going to time warp here. You also don't want to land with maximum time warp either. That's really bad. You really try to want not to do that. So here we go, coming down. And kill the time warp. There we go. Boop. Landed it! Guys, there we go. You made it to orbit. You came back down. If you have any questions, please go ahead and submit them. I stream regularly on Twitch TV/Sivnet. Go ahead and check me out there. If you have any suggestions or you want any more ideas for a tutorial video, I will totally do it. I'll tell you to just put it in the comment sections below. Go ahead, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much. You all have a wonderful, lovely day.